Words and music are likely older than instrumental music, but that's not quite the case when it comes to game soundtracks. The first few decades of gaming wrestled with sound processors that were way too underpowered to even attempt it. That didn't stop Nobuo Uematsu from trying when he was writing the aria di mezzo for Final Fantasy VI. You can't have an opera without lyrics, so he wrote out the script in a way that would sync up with a synthesized vocalization, and the programmers timed it to the motions on screen, giving us a taste of the fine arts on the lowly Super Nintendo. The fine arts in Final Fantasy is an entirely different topic for another time. For today, we'll be exploring the use of lyrics in the Final Fantasy series music. The next significant use, I said significant use, was reserved for the final major battle of Final Fantasy VII, blowing away with the choral vocals in the legendary One-Winged Angel. If you're playing in order, you get more Latin-ish vocals right away in the intro to Final Fantasy VIII, Fithos Lusec Vicos Vinosec, along with the first vocal theme music, Eyes on Me. Final Fantasy IX followed that up with Memories of Life, a song from Garnet's Distant Memory. While I didn't care for either of these songs all that much, I have to say I do appreciate that they were written from an in-world perspective, and not just a generic plugged-in theme like My Hands was for Final Fantasy XIII. Final Fantasy X had the wonderful Hymns of the Faith that had variations for H. Aeon singing it. But the vocal shock in this game comes much earlier than that, during the beginning moments as you're introduced to Tidus and Blitzball. I never thought I'd hear a hard metal sort of song in Final Fantasy, though this still didn't prepare me for the shock of hopping on a crazy chocobo years later in Final Fantasy XIII too. They dove back into in-game musical performances with the sequel to Final Fantasy X staging Yuna front and center. Thanks to the influence of the songstress dress sphere, she's able to pop it up in the intro, then sing harmony with Len.
Does anyone else find it freaky that Zoidberg is singing harmony with himself?
During a concert in the Thunder Plains. The online games 11 and 14 also had their lyrical moments. Final Fantasy XI had a fantastic bit of Esperanto in its intro. But the rebirth of Final Fantasy XIV absolutely blew me away with the power of Answer. Final Fantasy XII and 15 didn't really have any noteworthy lyrical tracks until some wonderful bits were added in episode Arden. But the Fabula Nova Crystallis of Final Fantasy XIII was chock full of excellent vocalization, despite my hands. And if you've been paying attention to any of my prior videos, you know what's coming. God, that's so lovely. New Bodum's lyrics took some time to grow on me, but it's a steady series favorite now as well, though its reprisal by a bard in Lightning Returns was less than stellar. Instead, we'll end with the mournful tone of the theme of The Last Human Knoll. We've talked a lot about the lyrics in-game today, but lots of Final Fantasy music also retroactively gained vocals to its music on soundtrack releases, such as the Final Fantasy V soundtrack Dear Friends. Hey, want a copy of your own? Well, all you have to do is share my tweet of this video on Twitter for a chance to win the disc. Do you have any favorite vocal pieces in Final Fantasy or some other game? Let me know below or on Twitter at TesseractUnfold. Meanwhile, like, subscribe, spread the word, and I'll catch you guys all again next week.